As you guys know, UFC Fight Night, Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes is coming up soon, and this fight night will be taking place in Perth, Australia. And I'm gonna just be honest with you guys, this is definitely one of the weaker fight night cards of this year. There's not a lot of name value sprinkled throughout the card. I'm excited for the main event though. The main event, I think that is going to be a pretty decent fight. There's a plethora of Australian fighters fighting on this card. So for this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my picks and predictions for every single fight happening on this card. So without further ado, let's hop into my predictions. Opening up the card, we have Andre Petrosky versus Cam Roston. And I think Cam Roston will win this fight by a decision. Next up, we have Brando Pericic versus Elisha Ellison. And I think Elisha Ellison will win this fight by a TKO. Next up in the women's bantamweight division, we have Luana Carolina versus Michelle Montague. And I think Michelle Montague will win this fight by a submission. Next up, we have Jamie Malarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. And I think Jamie Malarkey will win this fight by a decision. Next up, we have Kobe Slickness Thickness versus Josias Musasa. And I think Kobe Thickness should win this fight by decision. Next up in the welterweight division, we have Jonathan Mikulev versus Oban Elliott. And I think Oban Elliott should get this done by decision. Moving up the card to the women's strawweight division, we have Loma Luxboom versus Alexia Thanara. And I think Alexia Thanara should win this fight by a decision. Next up in the light heavyweight division, we have CKB prospect Navajo Sterling versus Rodolfo Bellato. It's crazy that Navajo Sterling, he's only 7-0. He doesn't really have that many fights under his belt. And then he's fighting Rodolfo Bellato. He's definitely on the lower side when it comes to quality fighters on the light heavyweight roster. And I think Navajo Sterling, he's good enough to win this fight by decision. I think this is definitely a matchup made for Navajo Sterling to win. In his last fight, he did get hurt a couple of times. It was kind of a war against Ivan Erslan, I believe. And Navajo Sterling, he showed that he was able to pull through and get that win. So I'm going to be picking Navajo Sterling to win this fight by a decision. Next up, headlining the prelims, we have Justin Tafa versus Louis Sutherland. I believe Louis Sutherland is making his heavyweight debut in the UFC. And Justin Tafa, he's been losing a lot of fights lately. I think Louis Sutherland is going to knock out Justin Tafa in the first round and win by a TKO. Now, moving on to the main card, we have Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. And I think Tom Nolan is going to win this fight by a decision. Next up in the welterweight division, we have Jake Matthews versus gatekeeper Neil Magny. And I think Jake Matthews should win this fight by TKO. In his last performance, Jake Matthews, he submitted Chidi Njokuani. That was a really good performance. I really thought Chidi Njokuani was going to beat him by TKO, but Jake Matthews, he proved me wrong, and I think he's definitely going to knock out someone like Neil Magny, who's really old. He's getting slower. I don't know why Neil Magny is stepping back in the cage so soon, because he did get that nice win, that comeback win against Aleski Dos Santos, I believe. Yeah, I could be wrong. I feel like Neil Magny stepped in the cage a month ago, but he's staying active. I can't blame him. It's always good to be an active fighter in the UFC, but I think he's gonna unfortunately lose this fight to Jake Matthews, who is a quality welterweight prospect. Now moving on to the next fight on the main card, we have Jimmy the Brute Crute versus Ivan Erslan. And I think Jimmy the Brute Crute should win this fight by decision. I can even see a submission victory for Jimmy Crute. He used his wrestling in his last fight. I believe he won by a armbar, and that really showed his grappling skill set. So I think Jimmy Crute, he's going to win this fight by decision and just outpoint someone like Ivan Erslan. Next up in the featherweight division, I believe we have Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Tavares. Jack Jenkins, he's definitely one of my favorite Australian fighters right now. I was kind of devastated when he lost to Gabriel Santos, I believe, in his last outing. But I think Jack Jenkins, he's gonna bounce back and win this fight by a decision. I think Jack Jenkins, his striking is really good. His grappling is really good also. I believe he like injured his shoulder against Chepe Mariscal, and he had to take like almost a year off between his fight against him and Herbert Burns. But I think his shoulder should not be a problem in this matchup. Actually, I don't think it was his shoulder. I think it was his arm he broke. Something I remember Chepe Mariscal, he like tossed him, slammed him some way, and then Jack Jenkins, he like posted with his arm, and his arm got like broke, or his shoulder got broke. But anyways, I think Jack Jenkins, that injury should not be a problem in this matchup, and I think he's gonna beat Ramon Tavares by a decision. Now for the co-main event, we have Junior Tafa versus Aibel Aslan, and I think Aibel Aslan is gonna win by TKO. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how Justin Tafa is still even in the UFC, much less being the co-main event for a fight night card. But Junior Tafa, he's been losing very bad lately. He made the move from the heavyweight division to the light heavyweight division. I believe that was a huge mistake. He went down to a more skilled division, and in his last fight, I believe he got submitted by Taco Tuckles, which is one of the like bottom of the barrel like heavyweights in the UFC. So I think Junior Tafa, to save his career, he should have definitely made the move back up to heavyweight. But it looks like he will be staying in the light heavyweight division. And I think Aibel Aslan is going to knock him out. Aibel Aslan's last performance was really dull. He did not show that same tenacity, that Turkish power, whatever his saying is. Even though that's the case, I think Aibel Aslan, he's definitely good enough to knock out one of the bottom of the barrel heavyweights that made the move down to light heavyweight. So I think Aibel Aslan is going to win by a TKO, I would say in the second round. Now for the main event, we have Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes, and I'm going with Dominic Reyes by a decision. I think Dominic Reyes, he has a lot of momentum going for him, and I think it would be really cool if Dominic Reyes gets a shot at the title, especially after that huge skid that he was on. I believe it was like a 4-fight losing streak after beating John Jones. And yeah, I think that would be really cool if Dominic Reyes wins this fight against Carlos Ulberg. I think this is definitely his biggest challenge, though. Carlos Ulberg can beat Dominic Reyes by like calf kick point fighting, and he can beat Dominic Reyes by a KO at the same time. Carlos Ulberg, he's very versatile. He has that same city kickboxing style that Israel Adesanya at range striking style. He can definitely just simply outpoint Dominic Reyes, but I think Dominic Reyes, his boxing is gonna carry him in this fight, and I can see him winning by decision. I can even see a knockout. I can see like a second round knockout for Dominic Reyes. I think Dominic Reyes, he is more experienced going 5 rounds as well. He does have that championship experience. He's been in 2 title fights, I believe, in his career. The one he won against John Jones and his title fight against Jan Blachowicz. And I think that experience is going to help him in this fight. I think Dominic Reyes, he's going to win this fight by decision. I can see him hurting Carlos Ulberg. Carlos Ulberg, he's very green when it comes to the top of the light heavyweight division. And let's not forget, I believe Carlos Ulberg, he got knocked out by Kennedy Nezatreku early in his career. And those type of losses, I think, show that, yeah, he might have evolved his game, but he's still susceptible to knockouts in his career. Dominic Reyes, he has a lot of power in his hands, and I think he's going to win this fight by decision. Like I said, it would not surprise me if Dominic Reyes gets a TKO in this matchup, but I think Dominic Reyes is going to win this matchup. So that's going to be it for my predictions for this Fight Night card. As usual, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.